Hey there. All right, I want to talk today about your definition of fully booked. I mean, I can't believe I have not spoken about this prior because that's the name of my Facebook group. It's the name of all my group programs is Destination Fully Booked and Beyond, Fully Booked Solopreneurs and Freelancers. So let's really talk about fully booked. When people join my Facebook group, I ask, what is your definition of fully booked? And I get a lot of responses of, having people on my wait list, being booked out for 3 months at a time, etc. Like all of these really kind of open-ended type statements, which is great. Like, yes, having a wait list is fully booked, or being, knowing that you are at capacity is fully booked, right? Or, being booked out for 3 months at a time. Great, fully booked. But what I want you guys to get a little bit more specific on this and really truly define what that is. What is your true capacity for fully booked? And that takes a little bit of calculation. And we talk a lot about this in my Destination Fully Booked. It's part of the organizing your time, organizing what your offers. It's all part of the process of that, my route framework. But I want to try to give you a little bit of an exercise here that you can do, all right, just to help you define that, because you have to understand what that looks like, all right? And a lot of it comes down to time. So regardless what your packages look like right now, one of the biggest things that you need to be organizing is how much time you have available every single month, right? Like, how many hours do you want to work in your business or on your business, whatever, in and on, they go together, right? So I'm going to give you an example. I worked with a client who said I could work 20 hours because she's got kids at home and they're little. And they're not in daycare. So she has to work during nap times, after hours, weekends, etc. And so she added up all those times. It was like 20 something hours or 25 hours a week. But then I asked her, like, do you honestly want to work every single weekend? Or do you want to be spending that time with your family? And she's like, well, no, I don't want to work every weekend. I don't mind working a Saturday or a Sunday or something like that because they still take naps, different things. But I don't want to be working every single Saturday. Okay, well, that right there is a key piece of information. Just because the hours are available does not mean you can take on clients that fill that if you don't want to work them. All right, so first steps first is going through and organizing your calendar and really looking at it and being honest with yourself. Do not overextend yourself on the amount of hours. If you know that you cap out at 20 hours per week, then cap yourself out at 20 hours per week, all right? Because this is what is going to define your fully booked, is how much capacity do you have to take on new clients. So number one, figure out what you have for time available. That is most important. And then you have to make sure like I said, there's a lot of other factors, and I could dive really deep into it, but it's really difficult to dive deep on this in this format. So again, we dive deep in the route framework. If you want, we can talk about that. DM me. I'm happy to chat with you. I've got VIP days available for that. But the other thing now you have to look at is your packages, all right? Hopefully you have some defined packages, or you know exactly like what you have available. So if you're in the time for dollars trade and you have 20 hours per week and you have, so that's 80 hours per month that you have available, and you have packages that are 40-hour a month packages or 20-hour a month packages, that means you can take on 4 20-hour a month packages or 2 40-hour a month packages, okay? Like, easy peasy. That means you cap. Like, if you have a 40-hour a month package and you only have 80 hours, your fully booked is 2 clients per month. That's it. That's it. Like, this is super eye-opening for a lot of people, because a lot of people think, oh yeah, it's no big deal. But you have to get really clear on this, because this is what happens and this is what causes burnout, is that there is not a clear definition of what fully booked looks like. There's not like, oh yeah, I can take on a new client. Oh yeah, I can take on a new client. And next thing you know, you're working all these hours because you have so many clients that to hit your revenue goals that you're beyond capacity. And that's when things start to fall through the cracks. That's when you start to feel overwhelmed, and eventually you will burn out and shut down. All right. So you don't want to do that. Let me give you another example. I had a client who had like this influx of leads through a referral. I think she ended up getting like 12 leads from this one referral, which was really good. And we were looking at it, and they were all really high-end leads. But when we looked at her calendar, based on her current workload of clients that she already had, and we looked at what she had available for time and what the time commitment was going to be if these clients came on, right? Based on the packages that they were looking at, she only had capacity to take 3 on. All right. Now, that makes a huge difference in your selling and in your marketing, because when you have leads coming in and they knew they were all in the same group, that they had 12 of them, it's easy to say, I can only take on 3 at a time. I only have opening for 3 until XYZ date. Again, that's fully booked to say I have capacity to take on 1 or 2, and then my next available opening will be XYZ date, depending on when that contract ends. Again, it depends on what that looks like for you. So this is where you have to really get clear on how many hours you have available. How many hours does it honestly take for you to execute on your packages, regardless what they are? Do you know that information? If not, that's where you need to be spending your time. How many hours does it take for you to execute on this project or this offer or this service? And then line it up with how many hours you have available. That's your fully booked. I mean, that's just like baseline, simple, basic math. There's obviously and beyond. There's obviously options for, doubling and taking on more capacity and really looking at that one-to-many. There's so many factors. That's what I say. There's so many factors that get involved. There's other ways you can bring in quick cash injections, but you've got to define your baseline fully booked based on hours, packages, and how many people you can take, making sure those line up. The next step there is, if you really want to take it the next step further, like let's use the example of you have 80 hours available, you have a 40-hour a month package, that's 2 people. If you had 2 people on that 40-hour a month package, does that meet your revenue goal? Does that meet your revenue goal of where you're trying to go? This is another thing that we just did. I just did this with a client, is that she had a package put together, and based on the amount of hours it was going to take her to execute on this package, her max capacity would be about 3 clients a month. Well, that was nowhere near her revenue goal. Like, it was not going to meet her revenue goal of what she needed financially to make in her business. And so that allowed us to quickly reevaluate this package. All right. So you've got to look at that, because if your revenue, that could be a real reason why you're not hitting that revenue goal, is that it's physically not possible with the packages and the time you have available. So that's where that's step 1, is really evaluating that. All right. If you need help with that, like I said, my route framework is designed to give you that 5-step process to make sure all the things are in alignment, to make sure all that data is aligned, to make sure all those packages meet those goals and have the ability to grow. So if you need help with that, if you need help going through this process, please reach out. We can bang this out in a day and get you on the right path. But first step is very easy for you to define that fully booked. Hours available, how many you want to work, not all the hours that are available. Just because they're available doesn't mean you have to work them. Evaluating your packages and your clients, and then matching that to your revenue goals. If any of the 3 are out of alignment, time to go back to the drawing board, okay? Because that is what is keeping you from hitting that next level goal. So define your fully booked. And I'd love to hear it. Like, what is your true definition of fully booked? Once you go through this exercise, tell me, send me a DM, get into my Facebook group. Let's talk about that. Like, what truly is your definition of fully booked? Okay. I want to hear about it. I want to know that you've been through this and you have this, because this is the key to growth right there. All right. I'll talk to you soon.